Welcome to another training tape put out by the Iowa High School Athletic Association. My name is Monte Tilgner, and I'll be taking you through 10 plays that happened in week 4. So let's go ahead and get started. First one we have here is another blindside block. We've got one or two of these on about every week. So we want to continue to work on widening our vision, looking where we need to, seeing that player with the brick in their hand so we get these fouls. This is a challenging play with everything that goes on, so let's break this down. But a key thing is anytime we have a receiver who comes inside, we need to know what he does, because there's a red flag right there going to the inside of blindside blocks, OPI for a pick play, those type of things. And this play is particularly challenging because if we look at the initial setup here, we've got 2 receivers out on the right side and 1 down here on the bottom of the screen. So we know that key-wise, we've got our back judge who's going to have this outside receiver. Our headline judge is going to have our inside receiver on this side, and then our line judge is going to be responsible for this receiver. Part of the problem is that we have a forward-backward pass to rule on as well that comes to the line judge's side. And this is the player who also comes to the inside and commits the blindside block. So let's go through and take a look here, and then we'll break this down a little bit. So the biggest thing I'm going to comment on is remember, we need to think about what everyone else is looking at. And probably the biggest thing is back judges. You've got to open up your vision, and you've got to be peeking at that quarterback to see where he's looking as often and as quickly as you can. So in this play, we've got no one pressed here. So even though the back judge is over on this side of the field with his initial keys, if he peeks at the quarterback, I'll just run it through. We'll see. We'll just watch the contact here, watch this illegal blindside block, and then we'll come back and break the play down a little more. So there's our foul that occurs right there, and we don't get this. We don't get a flag down. So like I said, it's challenging because when this guy goes to the inside, we would like our line judge to stay with him and see this, but he's responsible for this forward-backward pass. We've talked about this. If we have a quarterback in shotgun, then our line judge is responsible for forward-backward unless there's trips to his side. So there's not, but he's going to see this back coming out. He's going to see the quarterback looking to pass to him. So he's really going to be focused on this forward-backward. And for that reason, the line judge doesn't get the blindside block. Now, I know, back judge, your initial responsibility is over here, but if you read the quarterback, right now, you already know where he's going with this ball. So now you don't have to worry about what's over here. If you peek at the quarterback, your vision can shift and you can immediately pick this up, and you do have time to get that block and pick up that foul because our line judge is focused on this forward backward. Now, remember, referee, however, you can help on this. So let's say our line judge would stay with that receiver going to the inside. Then our referee, your secondary on this forward backward. I think this is one it's pretty obvious it's going forward. So I think our referee would be able to help out on that. But, primarily it's our line judge. But the biggest thing is back judges, you guys need to think of yourself as the free safety. You need to read the whole play. And right now, early in this play, you need to know that this ball is going to be going out to this side, and forget about your initial responsibilities and officiate the play. And that means get to this side of the play, and then you're going to see this number 18 coming in and committing this blindside block, which is illegal. All right, next play. We've got another blindside block, and you can take your pick, blindside block or late hit. But when in doubt, the important thing is when in doubt, if it's a live ball foul for a dead ball foul, we want to make it a dead ball foul. So biggest thing is we need to get this foul. And again, back judge, you are the number one official to get these plays, especially with this one. So let's take a look. Here's our initial kind of responsibilities, initial keys. We got trips to the headline judge's side. So we know our back judge has the outside 2 guys, and we know our headline judge has our number 3 receiver on the inside. So remember, we number our receivers, number 1, number 2, number 3 from outside in. And then we've got our line judge who has the 1 receiver on his side. Okay, so we run this play through and just freeze it right here to see a couple of things. First of all, where we're looking. Remember, we kind of need to be with our guys until they're free of foul. So we're still going to be looking in here with our headline judge. Our back judge is going to have his eyes on kind of these 2 guys and this 1 defender between, right here. And that means that you're on your own over here in this case. And we can, remember I talked about, we look at the bill of the cap to see where we're looking. Our line judge is looking in the backfield. So he's looking and watching probably this block here. We cannot do that. As soon as we read pass, if we do not have an immediate takedown hold by our tackle on our side, we need to get to our receivers. So we have a referee and a umpire who are watching the blocks of these 4 or 5 linemen. And we've got 4 guys running a pass route. In fact, we got a back coming out. We've got 5 guys running pass routes. And if we've got our eyes, you can see here, you can see that this official has turned his body and he is looking downfield, which is perfect. We need this official to do that as well. Because if this guy right here, if this DB was pressing him and was tighter and he grabs him at the top of the route, which is when they make their grab, and we have a defensive hold, and for that reason, we can't get the pass off, or we pass it and we have, we get defensive holding before the pass, or we maybe have DPI, right early on in the pass, and we haven't transitioned to it, then we're going to miss those. So again, we've got to release the line of scrimmage to our referee and umpire, and we need to officiate receivers downfield. Okay, so as we continue on this, we're going to see that right now, where we should all be looking, we know our line judge is going to be responsible for the progress here. Fouls on that on the defender, fouls on the runner with face mask and so on. And our referee is probably going to be cleaning up back here, but we need our other officials to see this action right here. This guy is going to, everyone else is starting to slow down. This guy's going to accelerate. So umpire, no reason, you don't have to worry about, end of the play, any of that kind of stuff. He might be focused in here, but as the umpire, if you're kind of looking in here, but you see some guy accelerating, then stay with him. Backside wing, 100%. We need you to be looking here. Back judge more than anybody. You've a number 1 person for cleaning up this type of stuff. So just watch. I mean, that is late. I go back in slow motion now. All right. Play's over. Continues several steps. And that is late, cheap shot, whatever you want to call it. It's a blindside block. It's a late hit. And we want to make that a dead ball foul. All right. So we need to catch these, Dead ball foul means if he got to the line to gain, that we would have a first down, and we're going to back up 15 yards, and we're still going to have first down and 10 because we haven't set the chains before the foul occurred. All right. And we're going to be from position 1. But biggest thing is, we need to get these. And these are plays that are sent in by coaches, and they're wondering, why is my guy laying on the ground and he's hurt and he's out the next game, and we didn't even have a flag down. So we know we can't prevent the blocks, but we can at least get the penalty enforced. All right. Okay, next play, we've got an incorrect call for offensive holding. We've talked about this. We'll continue to talk about this. We need to see the whole play. We need to know the difference between a hold and when an offensive lineman just pancakes the guy, all right, just drives him and takes him to the ground, but it is not a foul. So we don't have a grab and restrict on this play. We've got an offensive lineman who's drive blocking his man downfield, and then the guy he's blocking actually trips over his own teammate and goes to the ground, and we get 2 flags for an offensive hold. All right, so it's going to be this right guard driving downfield, and of course, what happens? We go for a touchdown. So let's go back now and let's slow this down, and let's take a look at what really happens. Okay, so you can see our umpire in here. He's looking inside. He's looking backside, which is where he should be looking. And you can see he turns and he's still looking in here, which is where he should be looking. Now, there's the trip. So he got tripped by his own player, goes down. Now our umpire gets to it. So our umpire gets to it late, and that's understandable. It's really not the block he should have been looking at. But our referee also comes in with the flag. And referee, if we take a look and go back, there's just way too much traffic for you to be looking, to see this. And you're dead straight lined. You just cannot make a judgment if there's a hold or not. If we don't see the restriction, if we don't actually see it, we can't throw because we see a guy go to the ground. There's no way the referee, with where he is and where this hold occurs, there's no way that he can see if there's a restriction or not. If you don't see a restriction, you can't throw on, the fact that somebody went to the ground. So again, we need to understand what we're looking at. We need to officiate the entire play. And, we don't want to have these where, we have a 75-yard touchdown that comes back, and we made an incorrect call because the guy got tripped, but we didn't see the whole play. So continue to work on those. All right. Next one, we've got a very good call for defensive holding by the back judge on this play. It's the back judge's call. He's looking exactly where he should be, and he sees a shoulder dip. Remember, that's one thing we talked about with defensive holds is a dip of the shoulder, taking a step away from the receiver. And then, before we even see the play, let's think about penalty enforcement. If we have an incomplete pass, we know that this is a defensive hold. It's going to be a 10-yard foul. It's going to go from the previous spot. We had 3rd and 9 from position 1 from the 31-yard line. So if we have an incomplete pass with a defensive hold, we are going to snap this ball from position 1 at the 41-yard line, and we're going to have 1st and 10. If we were 3rd and 11, then we're going to enforce that 10 yards from the 29 to the 39, and we would have a repeat of the down, but we would have 3rd and 1 because we didn't get to the line to gain with the penalty. All right, so let's take a look at the play. It's going to be right here. Okay, so I'll go back just a little bit now, and let's back up and take a look at what we mean by a shoulder dip and taking feet away. First of all, this is not the back judge's initial key. All right, so it's a great pickup because we've got a double-double here, 2 receivers on both sides. So we know if we have a double-double that the back judge is actually, a strength of our formation. When we have a balanced formation, which a double-double is, that strength of formation is to the line judge's side. So our back judge actually is on this side with his initial key, and then we're looking here, and then this official has both of these guys. But our back judge does an excellent job of seeing where this quarterback's going with the ball and getting it to it early enough to pick up this. All right, so now if we go back and we take a look at right here on the break to the outside, you're going to see a dip of the shoulder right there and his feet kind of getting stuck, and that's what makes this a defensive hold. The ball's not in the air yet. Now, if the ball is in the air, we have a defensive hold that continues and becomes a DPI, which is really close. So if you see it and you look back and the ball just in the air, then that, or the ball's in the air, then we want to make that a D hold that turns into a DPI. So very good job by the back judge in this play. A couple things. First of all, we've got 3 different officials who signal, and my point down here is no need for the line judge to signal. This is not his call by any means as far as stopping the clock or anything. And remember, finish the play. The result of the play is an incomplete pass. So don't give the stop the clock signal. And if we go ahead and in slow motion here, you can see we got a stop the clock signal going here. We have an incomplete pass. Give that signal because that also does stop the clock. We've got an incomplete pass signal by our headline judge, so that's good. And our back judge, as he comes in, you can barely see him coming in at the end here. He's also giving an incomplete pass signal. So we would, he's giving a stop the clock signal. So remember, if we have an incomplete pass, give that signal. That's going to stop the clock as well. But finish the play with the proper signal. Overall, great job by the crew. All right, on this one, we've got an incorrect call for ineligible player downfield. So remember, on screen passes, if the ball is first touched behind the line of scrimmage, it doesn't matter if linemen are downfield or if they're downfield blocking. We don't have OPI. We don't have IDP, ineligible player downfield, if we have the ball first touched behind the line of scrimmage. So it's good to be thinking about it. So as this play goes, we want to be thinking about, hey, I've got linemen who are downfield here. So what we think about is we try to think about, okay, if I've got somebody downfield blocking, I'm going to think about, I have OPI hanging. So I have offensive pass interference, but it's hanging out there, but it's not a foul yet because it's not a foul unless the ball is first touched beyond the line of scrimmage. In this case, we don't have any blocking occurring, but we have a lineman downfield. So we have IDP hanging. We have ineligible player downfield hanging. But again, we don't flag that, and that is not a foul unless the ball is touched beyond the line of scrimmage. And in this case, we've got the ball touched at the 37, 38-yard line. Line of scrimmage is the 35, therefore we're behind the line. We have no foul. But as you can see, we come in and we've got our line judge who puts a flag down for ineligible player downfield. Coach is clapping, but it's the wrong call. So just don't rush. Just slow down and think, yeah, I've got linemen downfield, but what happens after that? And if we have a screen pass that's first touched behind the line of scrimmage, then we don't have a foul, and that's exactly what you explained to the coach. And I think he understands that because he understands, when he's running a screen pass, that he's got guys going downfield. So, all right, swinging gate. Let's talk about mechanics of a swinging gate. This one's a little more challenging than most, actually, because we've got guys on both sides. A lot of times we'll have like everybody over here, and then we've got our snapper, and sometimes we have a holder kicker, and sometimes we don't. In this case, we've got a snapper. We've got this guy's not a holder. He's not down. Okay, so here's our guidelines. If we've got a snapper and a holder and a kicker in position to kick the ball, then we will be in our normal scrimmage kick mechanics, meaning we would have, in this case, our headline judge under this post, we would have our back judge under this post, and we would have our umpire, and our umpire can go with the gate somewhere. So what I would suggest we do here, since we have guys on both sides, umpire, you're still responsible for the snapper. You can maybe shift over just a little bit and be able to watch these guys and be able to watch the snapper. Knowing that he's going to do that, and our referee's over here, our referee, you're going to be responsible for kind of these guys on the gate. Okay, so if in this case they don't have a holder and a kicker in position, then we officiate the play like we do every other scrimmage play. So we're going to have our headline judge here. We're going to have, I shouldn't say that. He's not going to be on the goal line. He's going to be at the 3-yard line. So our headline judge is going to be here. We're going to have our line judge here at the 3, and we're going to have our umpire in normal position. He could shift over a little bit. Our back judge just right underneath the middle. All right, now, when they shift is when we shift. And here's the thing. I talked to the referee on this, and he's like, problem is they shifted, and they snapped the ball like 3 seconds after they shifted. And, if we would have, we were barely in position. And if we're over here and we got to go from here under the post, we're not going to get there before they snap it. Well, here's the deal. They've got to wait for the officials to be in position. So when this shift occurs, our umpire is going to step up over the ball, and he's going to tell the center, you can't snap the ball until I back out and we're in position to officiate. So if they let that clock run down too far and they do that and we're not in position and the clock runs out, well, then that's a delay a game on the offense. But usually there's enough time that, we'll get in position, they'll get in position, and we'll be able to get this off. But let's take a look at what happens, because this gets even crazier. Say snap it here, and now we've got a quarterback who's about to get hit, and now we've got a pass, and now we've got a catch, and now we've got a second pass, and we're like, oh boy, what all happened here? So I thought the crew did a really good job of how they officiated the play. We've got our first pass here, which, looking at it now, you can be like, oh, that was backward. Okay. But if we take a look, we release that ball from about the 13, 14. That ball is snapped, is first touched at the 15. So we do have a backward pass. Now, our referee, he punches it forward. So he has that as a forward pass. So watch our referee here. We've got a second forward pass, obviously. Our referee, when he sees this, is like, oh, I've got two forward passes. Here comes our referee's flag. Okay. Now, remember, we don't have to necessarily toss that. We can just kind of toss that out in front of us a little bit. It's not a dead ball foul, so we don't have to throw that baby up in the air. But it's more important if we've got an illegal forward pass that we get to this, that yard line, because we're going to go 5 from that spot. But anyway, he comes in and he's got 2 forward passes. So, they officiated it that way. And, it's a tough play because of, the position of everybody. But, we have a completed pass here, and the result of our play is a 2-point conversion. Back judge, remember, our back judge is on the post. He slides out a little bit. I would say, don't be moving there. Just keep yourself right there. As this play develops, just stay right there. You're plenty close to officiate, this whole play, going either direction. But challenging play. But like I said, mechanically, just remember, if they have a kicker and a holder in position to kick, we are going to be in kick mechanics. If they do not have a kicker and holder in position to kick, we are in our normal scrimmage play mechanics. We can shift a little bit out with a gate, but that would just be our referee or umpire who's going to do that. All right, so overall, pretty good job. Hopefully that'll help us next time you have your swinging gate plays. All right, a few things on this play. First of all, back judge, if the ball snapped at or inside the 15, be on the end line. Okay, we're snapping this ball at the 15-yard line. So we would want you on the end line. You're 25 yards back then. If it's between the 15 and the 20, you can be in the middle of the end zone. Okay, this official is 15. I would prefer you be at the end line. But if you read run right away, you can come up. But if you read pass, and it's not an immediate pass, like a swing pass right away, you need to get to the end line, because you're the only one who's going to be able to cover that end line. And on this play, we miss an offensive pass interference. So let's talk about how we can get that foul. So first of all, we've got trips to the top. So we know that our back judge is going to be, out here with his keys. And technically he's got the outside guy and the second guy here. And this official is going to technically have our third receiver in. But and then our line judge is going to have this guy. All right. But remember, we want to read the play. Okay. So as this play develops, we've got our first action here. So back judge, if you've got these two outside guys, you don't need to officiate this. There's space. Remember, we don't want to officiate air. So our back judge now should be zoned in on this action. Our line of scrimmage official, who had the third guy in, again, if you look at the third guy in, he's running in space as well. He's this guy right here. So again, you also could be on this. And if we see a player who's downfield blocking and we are reading a pass play, we need to think about OPI hanging. So right now, what I do, because I'm a deep official in college, what I do is I literally out loud will say block. And I say block, and I know then that I've got blocking downfield. And then I'm waiting to see what happens. So when I say block, I'm thinking OPI is a possibility here. I've got OPI hanging, but we know that's not a foul until that ball is first touched. In this case, that ball is first touched, or that ball goes across the line of scrimmage. So we have OPI at this point. All right. And as we continue to play, you can see that we did have that pass go downfield. We did have contact. So that would be OPI. So my point is here at this point, this play took a while to develop. So we would want our back judge on the end line. You're the only one that's going to be there. We have a very good job by our umpire. If I go back just a little bit, our umpire does a great job of pivoting and helping out with catch, no catch, which is what we want you to do. So nice job by our umpire there. But again, we want to not officiate error. So as this play develops, we really could have our back judge and our headline judge seeing this offensive player in a blocking posture, blocking this defender. We have OPI hanging, and as soon as this ball is passed and goes beyond the line of scrimmage, we have OPI. All right. OPI is probably our toughest plays as pass plays. So good one to look at, good one to talk about as a crew. Next play, we've got correct call for illegal personal contact against the defenseless receiver. This is our new rule 943G. So let's just run it through. It's a pretty easy one to get. A lot of contact there, and we go back, and there's definitely no wrap up. He hits him back to back, actually. Don't see that a whole lot. But what I like about this is we don't have to have the flag out instantly. I love the fact that our back judge is coming in and has what some might consider a late flag, but it's not a late flag. That's he's processing. Do I have what I think I have? And he's like, I got the contact. Yep, that it was not a wrap up. It was forcible, and he comes in. He's got the flag. Excellent job. That's exactly what we want. So another really good one. I think it was the same crew, if I remember. Yeah, same crew. So excellent job. Correct judgment to know this is not a foul for illegal personal contact because this is just a really hard hit, but it's a wrap up. And let's take a look. Again, that's a big hit. Ends up being a turnover. Okay, so I'll stop it here and let's go in slow motion and take a look at the wrap up. Okay, wrapping up. You can see his arms wrapped around him. Very good forcible contact wrap up hit. And if we don't see that well, we don't judge that as a wrap up, and we go with a foul on that, we just take away an interception. So great play by the defense, and even a more outstanding play by our officiating crew, knowing that was not a blindside block. So great job. All right, we've had a few plays called in by crews with, hey, our umpire just is a little nervous out there in the middle of the field. And so let's talk about this. This is going to take a little bit to go through this play, but how to keep our umpire safe with our new mechanic, how to best cover the sideline, because our sideline, we have a guy steps out of bounds here, and who's going to see it? And this is our best mechanic overall. We really are more concerned with blocks, because we got blocks on every single kickoff. We don't have a guy running down the sideline on every single kickoff. On this one, we do. But then we just need to officiate the play the best we can. With the 5-man crew, we're always going to have some gaps, but we just need to officiate the best we can. So let's take a look here. Our umpire does come into the towards the hash. I'm going to go in slow motion here. So our umpire comes into play right about here. You can see our umpire. And only thing I would suggest is, as the umpire, when you come in, if you're diagonaling in, we want you on 50, and we want you to diagonal in, 4 45-yard line is okay. If you can get a little further on a deep kick, that's fine. But if you come into the 45, if they break if they break it to the outside, then take yourself inside the hash. If they're running it up the middle, then stay or back up outside the hash a little bit. Maybe you end up, if they're coming up the middle or up the hash, maybe you end up, between the numbers and the hash. But still, you're going to have the view of those blocks that are going to be much better to be able to see if we have blindside blocks, if we have holding by the return team, if we've got a block in the back on the return team, and so on. But that'll get you out of harm's way a little bit. So we want you diagonal in towards the hash and officiate the play. So as we continue with this, you can see we've got a runner down the sideline now, and we've got our back judge doing a great job of trying to get to the goal line and beat this guy. And we're going to have our umpire who's going to be coming down, and he can squeeze in a little bit. We've got our line of scrimmage official, who I know was at the goal line. He's coming down, and our line of scrimmage official really is the one who has this out of bounds. We can get some help from the umpire if he sees it, but and maybe even from our back judge if it's obvious enough. But really, you just need to be coming down, and it's no different than if you've got an 80-yard run, right? If this was an 80-yard run for a touchdown, this is exactly what we've got. We've got our umpire is going to be in the middle of the field. We've got our back judge is going to be in the middle of the field, and we've got our line judge in this case who's going to be trailing this play and doing his best to officiate and see this guy, because he does go out of bounds. And I think we could get that. I think that's one where we could probably get it from even our back judge could probably see, that guy's out of bounds there. If not, our umpire, who's probably trailing this play, maybe another 10 yards behind, if he's pinching in and, he's got this look from just outside the top of the numbers, our umpire could probably help. But if we got our line judge coming down the field who can hopefully help out with that as well. Okay. Again, we're going to have gaps with 5 officials out there. We're going to have gaps. We just need to officiate the best we can. And every play is a little different. So, adjust accordingly, but we do want our umpire to come into the field. We do want our back judge to come into the field because you have a better angle to see blocks, and those blocks are going to happen on every kickoff return, but run up sideline is not going to happen on every one. And umpires, really, it's very similar to on a punt play where you're turning and you got guys coming past you. On run plays up the middle, you guys do a great job of staying out of harm's way. And same thing, feel free to move a little bit inside the hash or outside the hash, closer to the numbers to feel safe in there as you continue to officiate the play. But it is going to put us in the best position. So I believe that was our last play. Yep, that's our last play. So a little longer on this one, but I think we had great plays to talk about, great plays to learn from, and let's continue to work on getting these blindside blocks, these late hits. Those are the ones that coaches are sending in, and those are the ones that the state gets complaints about because we have guys who are getting injured and we don't have a flag down. And again, all we can do, we can't prevent the block, we can't prevent the late hit, the cheap shot, but we can get a flag down and enforce it to the best of our ability. So great job. Keep working hard. Again, if these are beneficial to you, give me a thumbs up. So hopefully we continue to learn, continue to grow as officials, and continue to, improve the officiating in the state of Iowa. So work hard this week, have great pre-games, talk about some of these plays, how you can handle them, because, we're not putting the easy ones out here. We're putting difficult plays out here for you to look at. But, we hope with this discussion that we can have everyone, get better as a crew and get better as individuals. So thank you, and we'll talk to you again next week.